Very good morning to all of you. Good morning, Sindhu and everyone. So, the today topic is refund. We have completed the export import chapter and now the refund. Very practical topic. So, this we have already discussed the definition. Let me revise. For export of the goods, the physical movement from India to out of India, and for import of the goods means bringing goods into India from a place outside India. Now, for services, there are 5 conditions for export of service, and there are 3 conditions for import of service. And then we know that the export or zero rated supplies can be made with 2 routes, either without payment of IGST, that is against letter of undertaking or bond. And in this case, also you are entitled to take the refund of accumulated ITC and export after payment of IGST and claim the refund. Rule 96 capital A in first case, which we have already discussed, and Rule 96, which we are going to discuss. Now, the zero rated supplies. This also we have discussed in the last class. A registered person making zero rated supply is eligible to claim the refund of unutilized ITC. Correct? Without claim the refund of unutilized ITC on the with the, if you opted for LUT route. It proviso says that if the realization of sale proceed is not received, then he will be liable to deposit the refund. And then 16 subsection 4, we have discussed that restriction can be placed. And please quickly tell me, what is the restriction? Any example of the goods on which the restriction is placed? And what is the restriction? Will it be through LUT always, or will it be through on IGST always? Just tell me. We have discussed some example of goods. We have discussed the name of the goods which are under restricted category because of the 16(4). क्या आप मुझे बता सकते हैं उसमें से एक या दो गुड्स का नाम? यस, टोबैको एटसेट्रा, मेंथा ऑयल. तो इसका रूट क्या होगा, ऑन आईजीएसटी या ऑन एलयूटी? तो आयुष बिल्कुल सही. आपने जो आंसर लिखा एलयूटी, एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट. Why? Because of LUT? Because we know that there is a problem with the IGST route. Correct. What is the problem? If we do the IGST route, then what is the problem? It is an automatic refund. Absolutely correct. So this is the recap of previous class which we have discussed and relevant for the today class. Now, if we see the situation leading to the refund claims, there are multiple categories in which refund can arise. Like if you are, let's say, if I'm going to this chart, here also you can say, if you are exporting the goods with payment of IGST or without payment of IGST. Correct. With payment of IGST and only in case of the export of the goods, this is automatic route. No refund application is required. Please note, it is only for export of the goods. You please do not club SEJ. If you are supplying to the SEJ on payment of IGST, if you are supplying the goods to the SEJ on payment of IGST, it is not automatic route. You have to file the refund application. Only export of the goods on IGST, it is an automatic route. So what could be the possible refund from this chart? Export of the goods, LUT. In case of the LUT, what you are getting the refund? Accumulated ITC. Correct? But here you are getting the refund of GST paid. Then export or service similarly to the SEJ. So there are following category I have already covered. Refund of unutilized ITC on export of the goods or services. A refund of unutilized ITC on supply to the SEJ. There is a one more point which we will discuss later on in the today class, that you are entitled to take the refund of accumulated ITC on account of the inverted duty structure. Then tax paid, again three category: goods on payment of IGST, service on payment of IGST, and supply to SEJ on payment of IGST. It is not automatic route. Then if your transaction is deemed export, then either supplier or recipient, any one party can take the refund. What is the restrictions? What is the documentation? That we will discuss later on. If you have the excess balance in the cash ledger, you can take the refund. Excess payment of tax, you can take the refund. Can anybody tell me what is the difference between these two categories? Anyone tell me what is the difference between these two categories? Excess payment of tax and excess balance in the cash ledger. Does it mean the same? If it is different, then tell me what is the difference. Correct. In ECL, see, point number one, if you made the excess payment of tax, can I say that the balance is not available in any ledger, in any electronic ledger? The tax which you have paid, can we say that this balance which you have excess paid is not available in any electronic ledger? It goes to the government. But in this case, your cash ledger itself has the excess balance. It is because of you have added the money in the cash ledger, or your TDS or TCS deducted or collected, and you have accepted that money will also be added in the cash ledger. So because of these reasons, you now like to take the refund. There is a section 77 which talks about the refund of taxes paid on intrastate supply, which is subsequently called as interstate. Here you will read section 77, which talks about if your supply is intrastate and you have paid the CGST and SGST, but subsequently it come to know that it was not intra, it is inter. You have to pay the correct tax and take the refund of wrong tax. Any on account of assessment, provisional assessment, appeal, etc., any other ground, and refund of taxes on purchase made by the UIN, and refund of the advance tax deposited by the casual taxable person or non-resident taxable person. So these all are the categories in which the refund can arise, but we'll discuss one by one, whatever the categories. First, we will discuss the categories in detail, like refund of accumulated ITC. जो हम पहले बात करेंगे वो किसकी बात करेंगे? एक्यूमुलेटेड आईटीसी के रिफंड की बात करेंगे. ठीक है. नाउ any person who claiming the refund of the tax and interest, if any, paid on such taxes or any other amount paid by him, may make an application before the expiry of the 2 year from the relevant date in such form, such manner as may be prescribed. Now, any person claiming the refund of any taxes and interest paid on such tax or any other amount paid by him may make an application before the expiry of the 2 year. What is the time limit? Time limit is 2 years. Now, based on your practical understanding, do you think that unregistered person can take the refund? My question is, can the refund be given to the unregistered person? Or it has to be the registered person only? What do you think? क्या अनरजिस्टर्ड पर्सन को रिफंड दिया जा सकता है या it is mandatory to be registered only for taking the refund? The answer given is word any person. The answer given in the first line is the any person. Now, whether 54(1) has written the any registered person? No. It means if you are unregistered and because of any reason you need the refund, then whether law permit, answer is yes. Because section 54 subsection 1 is starting with the word any person. And let me go to the next slide, then we'll come back. Just now, considering the any person, the GST portal has made the facility, then you can apply the refund even if you are unregistered person. Why? There is a circular which we will talk about later on, either today or tomorrow. Tomorrow means next class. The only point which we need to understand, law-wise, there is no problem because they have started with the word any person. And now the portal-wise, there is no problem because they have made the facility that even an unregistered person can take the refund. Why they can take the refund, that we will discuss later on. Okay. What is the time limit to take the refund? The time limit to take the refund is 2 years. And 2 years would be counted from the relevant date. And the relevant date will be different according to the category wise. Meaning, if you are exporting the goods, the relevant date would be different. If you are exporting the services, the relevant date would be different. If you are taking the refund of IDS, inverted duty structure, the relevant date will be different. So we'll discuss one by one each and every relevant date in detail. But whatever the relevant date comes, then the timeline is fixed 2 years. Correct. This factor is variable, which we have to discuss, but this is fixed, static. Now, proviso. Provided that a registered person claiming the refund of any balance in the cash ledger, then according to section 49 subsection 6 may claim the refund in such form, such manner as may be prescribed. What is the meaning? So proviso means it is different behavior to the main provision. It is different behavior to the main provision. So the question comes, they are talking about only cash ledger. Its proviso says that if you like to take the refund of cash ledger, then you can take the refund in such form, such manner as may be prescribed. But whether the time limit of 2 years would be applicable, whether the time limit of 2 years would be applicable in this case, which case? Refund from cash ledger. Answer is absolutely correct. Answer is no. Why no? Because in the main provision, there was 2 years. Whether in the proviso, the 2 years have been continued? No. And this part has been clarified in the circular also, ki whether the provision regarding the time period within which an application can be made would be applicable in case of the refund of cash ledger. Answer is no. It would not be applicable in case of the refund of excess balance lying in the electronic cash ledger. ठीक है, this part is clear. Now further move. So if you are taking the refund, now I am into the 54 subsection 3. If you are claiming the refund of unutilized ITC, you will not be able to take the refund of accumulated ITC. There are the two situations which we have already discussed, in which you are entitled to take the refund of accumulated ITC. What are the two situations? One is zero rated supplies under LUT or bond, and second is inverted duty structure. If Mr. A has expired and his son like to continue that business, and A has the excess balance in the electronic credit ledger, can Mr. B, who's son of Mr. A, be entitled to take the refund of ITC? What do you think? क्या इसका बेटा will be entitled to take the refund of accumulated ITC? Mr. A has been expired due to the any reason. His son continue the business. Whether Mr. B would be entitled to take the refund of accumulated ITC? Question number 1. Question number 2. Whether Mr. A, who has closed the business, and now he like to take the refund of accumulated ITC, will he be entitled to take the refund? Shut down the business. Would he be entitled to take the refund of accumulated ITC? Answer is no. In first case also the answer is no. Why no? Because the 54 subsection 3 says that you are not entitled to take the refund of accumulated ITC except two cases. It means refund आपको मिलेगा सिर्फ और सिर्फ दो सिचुएशन में. In third case, it can never be happen that you are entitled to take the refund of accumulated ITC. Now the zero rated supplies made without payment of tax and where the credit has been accumulated on the rate of the taxes on input, that we will discuss later on, because inverted duty I have a separate discussion. ठीक है. Provided also no refund of ITC shall be allowed if the goods or services are subject to the drawback. Now, this is the formula for refund of export. Now, in the case of the zero rated supplies of the goods or services without payment of tax under bond or LUT, then a refund shall be granted as per the following formula. Turnover of zero rated supplies of the goods plus turnover of zero rated supplies of the service divided by adjusted total turnover multiplied by net ITC. My first question to all of you, and this question should, why I am asking, because it should be remain in your mind that the reason of this, what is that? Why they have not told turnover of zero rated supplies of the goods and services? Why they have made the segregation? Turnover of the zero rated supply the goods, then plus turnover of zero rated supply the service. Let me give the answer. The reason why they have made the separate, because if you are reporting, let's say, export sales of rupees 100 of goods and export of services, let's say rupees 50, then it is not the case that it will always be 100 plus 50. Why, sir? Because the meaning of turnover of zero rated supply of the goods has been defined in different manner. There would be some upper cap. Similarly, turnover of zero rated supply of the service has been defined. Subsequently, there is a different restriction at all. It means these two terms would not always match with your turnover, which you are talking about. Then adjusted total turnover. See, all three terms are very important. For this, there is two separate circular. For this, there is two separate circular to clarify that adjusted total turnover, what is the meaning? Multiplied by net ITC. And what is the net ITC means? ITC availed on input and input service during the relevant period. So the relevant period which you are talking about, whatever the ITC you availed on that input and input service during the relevant period, that you need to take, that you need to use in the formula. So refund amount means the maximum refund that is admissible. Net ITC means ITC availed on the input and input service during the relevant period. Now, what is the meaning of turnover of zero rated supply of goods? Means the value of the zero rated supplies of the goods made during the relevant period without payment of tax, which is 1.5 times the value of the like goods domestically supplied by the same. See, they've used the word like goods. So, for example, you are making the export of rice. Okay. And you are domestically supplying at 100 rupees, but in the international market, you have the better, I can say, the good monopoly by which you can able to make the sale at 400 rupees. And in the domestic market, you have sold 10 kgs, let's say. Okay. And in the international market, you have sold 25 kg. What is the total domestic sale? 1000. And what is the total export sale? 1 lakh or 10,000. No? 10,000. Now, my question is, should it be, read the definition, what should be the upper cap of the export? Will it be same? Will it be 1500, 1000 ka 1.5 times? Or if you not agree, then tell me the amount. What should be the amount as per the definition of the zero rated supplies the goods? You calculate and tell me the amount. So Sanjay is saying 1500. Okay. Now tell me, Ayush, according to you, what should be the amount? Will it be same 10,000? Will it be 1500? If you think that both are not correct, then what should be the amount? Now, the value which is 1.5 times the value of like kind and quality, like goods domestically supplied by the same or by the similar place as declared by the supplier. Now, if I'll take the same example, or same answer from you, whatever you have given, let's say there is no supply in this month, then what is the value of the domestic supply? What is the value of the domestic supply? Zero. Zero. In this case, Does it mean that he will not be entitled to take the refund? In this case, does he mean and 0 multiplied by 1.5, 0 multiplied by 1.5 will also comes to 0? Can I say in this case he will not be entitled to take the refund at all? No. Whenever you are comparing, so obviously the quantity would be different. So what should you compare? You should compare the rate. Rate means if it is 100 rupees domestically, so export value for the purpose of refund would be 150 multiplied by actual quantity 25. Okay. Now, whatever the value comes, 3750 आएगा ना? Whatever the value comes, okay, that value would be the zero rated supply of the goods. It is not key that it will be multiplied by 1000 rupees. No, this mistake is always doing by various person. So that is why I have taken that example. आपको क्वांटिटी तो वेरी कर सकता है ना, तो आपको 1.5 टाइम किसका निकालना है? जो आपका टैक्सेबल वैल्यू है, जो रेट है आपका, रेट का 1.5 टाइम निकालिए एंड मल्टीप्लाई विद द एक्चुअल क्वांटिटी वट एवर यू हैव द सप्लाई. Now, remember this example. What is the domestic value? So into thus it is a 1000. It is the domestic sale. And what is the export sale? What was the export sale value? I have forgotten. Can you tell me? Like I'm talking about. First, I'm talking about as per books. Second, I'm talking about as per GST return. Will it be 25 or will it be, so will it be 10,000 or will it be 3750? Similarly, give the answer. Will it be 10,000 or will it be 3750 in the books and in the GST return? Very nice, very nice. In the books, you will book the actual export value, not 3750. In the GSTR1, you will report actual value. And when you will apply for the refund, then only you will talk about 3750. यहां पर जो वैल्यू फॉर्मूला में यूज करोगे दैट विल बी 3750. Now, what is the domestic supply? 1000. Correct? The question comes, what should be the adjusted total turnover? This word has not been defined separately. It should be 1.5 times. Let me go and then come back. On the, you see, adjusted total turnover means the sum total of the turnover in the state. That we will discuss. Okay? Then in that case, what is the meaning of adjusted total turnover? So because they does not have any such type of the word upper cap of 1000, upper cap of 1.5 times, so it is always taken in the practical case, it is always taken as 11,000. Now in this case, you are using the denominator as 3750 and you are using the numerator as 11,000. You are using the 3750 and you are raising the 10,000. So for export, if you are taking the higher value in the divide, then will your refund amount be increased or will your refund amount be decreased? आपका refund का amount क्या होगा? Will it be increased or will it be decreased? it will decrease. संजय क्वेश्चन ये था कि जब आप टर्नओवर ऑफ जब एक्सपोर्ट की वैल्यू आप फॉर्मूला में यूज करते हो तो ऊपर आप लिखते हो 3750 3750 एंड डाउन में आप लिख दो 10,000. तो विल बिकॉज यू आर यूजिंग द सेम figure for export, but same term of export, but you are using the different value in the numerator and denominator. So my point is, will it increase, will it decrease, or will it remain same the refund amount? Answer is it will decrease. क्योंकि अगर आप लेट्स से आपकी डोमेस्टिक सप्लाई है ही नहीं, लेट्स से यू डू नॉट हैव एनी डोमेस्टिक सप्लाई इन द मंथ, then ideally whatever the net ITC you should get the refund na. So 3750 and 3750 it should be, but problem is it is accepting 10th. Normally in the practical scenario they are asking to divide by 10,000, not by 3750. Why they are saying so? Why they are saying so? Because of the definition has been given for the zero rated supplies of the goods, but not the turnover, adjusted total turnover. So what was the solution? Circular has been issued to clarify. Circular has been issued to clarify. Let me go to the circular. Read this circular. Limit of 1.5 times applies to the adjusted total turnover. So I have given the relevant part only. The restriction of 1.5 times of the value as applied in the turnover would also apply to the value of the adjusted total turnover also. Meaning thereby, for the purpose of the rule 89.4, the value of the export and zero rated supplies of the goods to be included while calculating the total turnover will be same as being determined as per the amended definition of the zero rated supplies of the goods in this subrule. तो इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? So whatever you are using in the denominator and whatever you are using in the numerator, both would remain same. Clear ये वाली बात? Is it clear? Now, turnover of zero rated supplies of the services has the different meaning. Turnover of the zero rated supply of the services has the different meaning. Now it is not so. First, to remember this particular definition, always remember it is on payment basis, not on invoice basis. Payment or invoice, whichever is later. Always remember payment or invoice, whichever is later. मतलब या तो आपने पेमेंट रिसीव कर लिया या इनवॉइस इश्यू कर दिया, तो जो भी लेटर आएगा वो, अगर सिर्फ आपने पेमेंट ले लिया and invoice yet to be issued, will it be counted in the zero rated supply of the service? No. If it is invoice has been issued but the payment has not been received, will it be counted? No. Both the activity has to be there, and whichever is later, that you will count. Read the definition. So how you will calculate? So first I can say whatever the payment you have received during the relevant period without payment of IGST, you will take that payment plus you will add those invoices issued in the current tax period for which the payment has already been received. Where the supply has been completed during the relevant period, for which the payment has been received in advance in any period prior to the relevant period. Correct. And which you will subtract the payment which is received as an advance in the relevant period, but for which invoice or supply has to be completed in the subsequent period. Correct. Logic clear hai? What we are trying to achieve by this, we are trying to achieve the amount where invoice or payment both has been done, and we are considering in the later, whichever is later. Just see 1 minute and then please see once. See, if the GST circular are beneficial to the taxpayer, then it is binding on the officer. And if they are against taxpayer, they are not binding on the taxpayer. So obviously, the circular which clarify the position, which gives the favorable situation, is binding on the officer, and I, being a taxpayer, will always follow. Okay. But if it is a vice versa, it is not at all binding. 2 minute आप देखिए, just give 2 minutes on this particular part, and let me open one. Let me open your study material also. In which term you are giving the exam? Okay. And what about you, Sanjay? Clear? Just tell me, just tell me what was the restriction for export of goods? What was the restriction in calculation of value for the export of goods? Turnover of export of goods. Just give me 2 minutes and then I will open. Meanwhile, you can just give me the reply. So you will read the multiple categories. We have read this formula, right? And you can see, you can read this turnover of zero rated supply the service means. So it means you will, in the calculation of turnover zero rated supply the service, you will take invoice or payment, whichever is later. Remember this because we will use the same terminology in the relevant date. Okay. And in the calculation of adjusted total turnover, you will add both, but you will not include exempted supplies. You will exclude the exempted supplies. Exclude the value of the exempt supply other than zero rated supplies during the relevant period. Okay. Now this explanation, for this purpose, I have opened the basically the study material. Explanation says, for the purpose of this subrule, the value of the goods exported out of India shall be taken FOB, value declared in the shipping bill or bill of export, as the case may be, or the value declared in the tax invoice or bill of supply, whichever is lower. My first question, what bill of supply will be issued in which case? Bill of supply would be issued in which case? Which case you will use the bill of supply? I hope you would be able to see my screen, right? No answer. Bill of supply कब issue करना है? If my supply is exempted. Can we take the refund if my supply is exempted? Can we take the refund if supply is exempted? Answer is yes. Why? Because if you are export exempted item, if you are exporting the exempted item, then it is also called as, okay संजय, हाँ, मैं एक्सपोर्ट की बात कर रहा हूँ, अभी मैं फॉर्मूले की बात कर रहा हूँ, मतलब बेसिकली यू आर मेकिंग द जीरो रेटेड सप्लाईज एंड देन आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट. ठीक है. नाउ FOB value declared in the shipping bill, let's say you are exporting, you are making the, your term is CIF, you are making the sale at CIF, you are making the export at CIF. 1000 rupees is value of the goods. Let's say the shipping cost is 100 rupees and 50 rupees is the insurance. Total is 1150. Now, what value will be considered for the purpose of refund? What value will be considered for the purpose of the refund as per the explanation? Answer is 1000 FOB. Now, your invoice value is 1150. What amount you are getting from out of India? 1150. What amount you are realizing? 1150. But still, only for the purpose of the refund, only for the purpose of the refund, you need to be consider the 1000 rupees in the formula instead of 1150. And the problem would remain same at what value you will divide. Will you divide at 1000 rupees or will you divide at 1150? Because explanation has used the term value of the export, value of the goods exported out of India shall be taken as. तो मुझे क्या करना है, मैंने जो एक्सपोर्ट किया आउट ऑफ इंडिया उसकी वैल्यू कितनी लूंगा? 1000 रुपीज. अगेन द सेम प्रॉब्लम. व्हाट वाज द प्रॉब्लम? द प्रॉब्लम इज कि कितना वैल्यू मैं लूंगा फॉर कैलकुलेशन ऑफ एडजस्टेड टर्नओवर. Will it be same or will it be different? Will it be same or will it be different? Because again, the same problem was occurred that they are taking the 1000 rupees in the upper side and they are calculating the 11 dividing by the 1150. Same problem, it will reduce the refund. Again, that clarification has been issued by the CBIC. They are saying कि on similar line means whatever it has been clarified in the below circular 147, they've given the reference. In circular 197, they've given the reference of 147, and it is being clarified that because consequent to the explanation having been inserted in the 89.4, the value of the goods exported out of India to be included while calculating the total turnover will be same as determined as per the explanation. It means for the purpose of calculation of adjusted turnover, whether it is upper cap of 1.5 times or it is FOB, in both the cases, whatever value you are taking in the denominator and numerator, it will always be same. Clear na? This is important point. So you might see this particular calculation or you might see the particular concept. I hope it is clear. Now, in which case, quickly tell me in which case the refund is not required any application. It is automatic route. In which case the refund does not require the application. It is automatic route. From the study material, I'm taking this example. Now you need to calculate and tell me the maximum refund amount. You need to calculate and tell me the maximum refund amount in this case. Just मैं स्क्रीनशॉट शेयर कर रहा हूं. Just only make one changes in this. First, calculate and tell me the maximum refund amount in this case. Assume. Now, you please assume that. Now, you please assume that the FOB value is 1500 or 1400. You will take the FOB value as 1400 of this goods. FOB value as 1400 of this goods. Give me 1 minute. Sorry, yaar. In this case, your export is again same quantity, but you are exporting the value at rupees 350 per unit. Not to such. Yes, sir. Yes, yes, Sanjay. The answer you have given in the. So you calculate the net ITC is 270. You write the situation. I'm also writing. I'm also writing. The net ITC is 270. ठीक है. Your domestic is 1000. How 1000 is calculated? 200 is the price and 5 is the quantity. Your export. Let's say you are exporting the same quantity at rupees 350. So it will come 1750. And you are saying that the FOB value of this goods or as per shipping bill is 1400. Now you calculate and tell me the maximum refund amount in this case. You calculate and tell me the maximum refund amount in this case. You tell the formula also what you will use in the denominator, what amount you are using in the numerator, and by which amount you are multiplying. ओके संजय इज कैलकुलेटेड. तो संजय मुझे बताना न्यूमरेटर और डिनोमिनेटर में क्या क्या फिगर यूज किया था आपने. So 1000 divided by 1400 multiplied by 270. Okay. What is 1000 rupees? What is 1000 rupees? Sanjay. 1000 क्या था? 1000 तो डोमेस्टिक था. Let me go back to the formula. What is the formula? Formula says that you will use the turnover of zero rated supplies of the goods. ठीक है. Divided by 2 because services are not there. So I'm removing this part. So what would be my formula? Turnover of zero rated supplies of the goods divided by adjusted total turnover multiplied by net ITC. So turnover of the zero rated supplies of the goods. Now here you will have the calculation. So first amount as per the books of accounts. What is the turnover? As per the books of accounts, what is the turnover? It is 1750. Now, as per the FOB value, it is the 1400. Can you tell me what could be the one more comparison? Can you tell me what is the one more comparison? As per 1.5 times only, I'm asking. Yes. So it will be 200 into 1.5. And what is the quantity? 5 quantity. So this third amount will be the 1500. You will take whichever is lower. 1400. 1400 will become the export turnover, 1400, and you will adjusted total turnover will also be 1400 plus what is the domestic. Domestic you will not change the value, 1000 multiplied by net ITC kitna, it is 270. So the formula comes 270 multiplied by 1400 divided by 2400. Is it clear, Sanjay? Or shall I explain? ठीक है. So by this, Ayush, आपका कितना आया था? I think 150 something ना? You have calculated 157.50, right? So correct. You are correct. ठीक है. So I can say this in this case, what amount will come? Amount will come as 157.50. ठीक है. So let's take a break of 10 minutes and we'll resume and start the inverted duty structure. अशोक जी 10 मिनट का ब्रेक है. ठीक है. inverted duty structures. In the inverted duty structures, what do you understand by inverted duty structures? You tell me, what do you understand by the inverted duty structures? So first we can say that it is a second case where second situations where ITC ka refund is permitted. Input is greater than output. Mean, I can say if I like to understand, the input ka rate is higher than output. So this is the main point. So where 3 points are being, three categories are point to be noted. Three main important point I have highlighted, and input being higher than output. Meaning input means only goods. So out of the four, kindly select one. I have to compare the rate of input. Means I have to compare the rate of the goods only service, only capital goods, or combination of all. Which rate I have to see and then I have to compare. Will it be goods? Will it be service? Only goods other than capital goods, I'm saying. Here, point number one, other than capital goods, I mean to say. Other than capital goods. Then what is the meaning of output? Now you tell me from these four. Output supply means it is only for goods. Output supply means it is only for the goods or services or both. Output supply, it means it is outward supplies of the goods or services or both. Both, maybe. Okay, no problem. Absolutely correct. Here the input means the only goods other than capital goods. You will not consider the rate on the service. You will not consider the rate on the capital goods. You will not consider any combination. You have to check what is the rate on the, I can say, raw material. And outward supply, it is not for goods. It can be goods, it can be services, or it can be both. There is no problem. And they are saying notified. Notified, what notified? What category can they notified? Whenever you read the notification in the practical life, I'm telling you, in the practical life, I'm telling you, first see what power has been given in the section. Section में क्या power दिया हुआ है? They are saying कि except as may be notified. It means notification has the power to list down the goods or services where refund is permitted or refund is not permitted. आपको क्या लगता है? What do you think from your understanding? It will the notification talk about the goods where the refund is permitted or where the refund is not permitted of inverted duty? where refund is not permitted. It's written as accept. So in these two notification, we will talk about where the refund is not permitted under inverted duty structures. ठीक है. Now, will it be under inverted duty or not? Think and tell me. Rate on input is 5%. Rate on input B is 18%. Rate on output is final product. Manufacturing raw material A, raw material B, and then final product is being made at 12%. What do you think? Will it be inverted duty or will it not be inverted duty? I can say when I see the A, it is not inverted duty. But when I see the B, it is inverted duty. Don't you think? Agree with me? कि जब मैं ए को देखता हूं तो ए का रेट तो लोअर है, तो ये तो इन्वर्टेड ड्यूटी नहीं है, बट बी का रेट हायर है, इट इज इन्वर्टेड ड्यूटी. करेक्ट. सो द प्रॉब्लम इज द क्वेश्चन विच आई लाइक टू आस्क, will you apply the refund in an inverted duty? Answer is yes. It is inverted duty even though it is one material. The bigger question which comes into mind, that when I apply the refund, will I have to segregate all material which are having the excess tax rate? See, I am manufacturing the final product which require 100 item. क्या मुझे हर आइटम का रेट चेक करके जो जो इन्वर्जन में है, whichever is having the higher tax rate, I have to select and apply for that refund only? If it is yes, it will be very, very typical and clumsy task. Answer has been given by the circular 125. It says that you are not required to do the every input separately. If you are having the multiple inputs attracting different rate of the taxes, then the formula will take care. Rule 89 sub rule 5 will take care the problem. Some are having the higher rate, some are having the lower rate. So net ITC which cover the ITC on all input irrespective of the tax rate. So when we will talk about the formula, it means that you will add the ITC of A as well. You will not only segregate the ITC having the higher tax rate and add those ITC. No, you will add those ITC, whether it is having the higher or lower, whatever the net ITC is there, you will report that. But other than input, service and capital goods. Serial number 2. Is it inverted duty? Just tell me. Is it inverted duty? The answer is no. Why no? Because you are not considering the rate on input service. You are not considering the rate on input service for determining whether it is inverted duty or not. You will only compare the rate on input. Input means goods other than capital goods. What is the meaning of input? Input means goods other than capital goods. The third category, third example, what do you think? Is it an, say, third example, I have to talk about something. When I have purchased the material, the rate on that is 18%. Because of this September tax reduction, my rate goes down to 12%. So I am doing the trading of the item, but मैंने जब purchase किया था, जब rate 18 था, जब मैं sale कर रहा हूं, it will be 12. Now you please again give me the answer. Trading of the item which having the different tax rate, will it be inverted duty or not? आइटम सेम ही है, ए आइटम परचेज किया, ए आइटम सेल कर रहा हूं, बट क्या किया, जब मैंने परचेज किया तब टैक्स रेट अलग थी, हाई थी। जब मैं सेल कर रहा हूं तो उस दिन टैक्स का रेट रिड्यूस हो गया एंड आई एम मेकिंग द सेल एट रिड्यूस रेट। विल इट बी इन्वर्टेड ड्यूटी? अगेन गिव मी द आंसर। अगेन एक बार वापस रिपीट कीजिए, यस, एंड आयुष यू आर आल्सो सेइंग यस, करेक्ट। Then this part has been clarified by two circular. Try to understand first circular, and in which I have highlighted one term, different tax rate at different point of time. You try to understand this term, different tax rate at different point of time, different tax rate at same point of time. See, the term different tax rate at different point of time and same point of time, these are two important terms which you need to understand. If the credit has been accumulated on the rate of the tax on input being higher than the rate on the tax on output supply, it is noteworthy that input and output being same in such cases, though attracting the different tax rate at different point of time, input and output being the same. What does it means? It is trading or manufacturing? Only trading, na? Does not get covered under the provision of inverted duty. क्या कह रहा है ये कह रहा है कि even though you purchase a different tax rate, but this different tax rate was prevailing at different point of time. If the different tax rate at same point of time is there, then yes, it will be inverted duty. So now the situation number 3. Tell me again, will the refund be permitted or not? Is it an inverted duty or not? Just quickly tell me. Then the question comes, answer is no. It is the trading and therefore it is not permitted. So I hope it is clear. The first part which we have understood, it should be first part which we have understood that it should be the different tax rate at same point of time. You should do the manufacturing, not the trading. And comparison would be only for input, not consider the input service, not consider the capital goods. Now, can you tell me what is the name of this transaction? Can you tell me what is the name of this transaction? Can you tell me what is the name of this transaction? Now tell me, will it be under inverted duty? Will you be entitled to take the refund? संजय, ये वाला पॉइंट मैं यहाँ पे एक्सप्लेन करूंगा. Whatever you highlighted ना, ये वाला पॉइंट मैं यहाँ पे एक्सप्लेन करूंगा, गिविंग द रेफरेंस ऑफ वन सर्कुलर. क्या यहां पर इन्वर्टेड ड्यूटी का रिफंड मिलेगा एज पर योर अंडरस्टैंडिंग? इट इज इनटू द ट्रेडिंग, नॉट द मैन्युफैक्चरिंग. और आई एम नॉट अवेयर. मर्चेंट एक्सपोर्टर के लिए ट्रेडिंग ही होना चाहिए, राइट? इट शुड नॉट बी एंगेज इन द मैन्युफैक्चरिंग. नहीं 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 नहीं. सी आयुष, अगेन recall the example that we have taken. A made the supply to B and B made the supply to John. Here we are talking about this leg, A to B. We are not talking about this because in this case B would be entitled to take the refund of export. That is no problem. I'm talking about the refund to A. Whether A is making the export, A is making the export. No, A is making the domestic supply. A is making the domestic supply at a reduced rate. तो 0.1% पर जो सेल कर रहा है, Now, this you exactly told, correctly told that it is a merchant exporter, I can say, supply to the merchant exporter. Now, you tell me, will the refund to A is permitted in this case under inverted duty? The answer is yes. Why yes? Now, you tell me. In the today date, in the current date, if we make the supply, will there be difference in the rate or not? The tax rate are different. Is it because of the different time? Is it because of the same time? That we like to understand. Agar wo, see, try to understand. See, if I am A and you are B, if I will make the, see, I am purchasing today morning at 18%, rate on A is 18. But when I will make the supply, I will charge only 0.1. Can I say the tax rate are different, but tax rate are different even at same point of time? In the last example where they have purchased on one date and they have sold in different date, that was the different tax rate at different point of time. मतलब ये वाला जो सिचुएशन है जो मैंने एग्जांपल 3 में कवर किया था, दिस कवर द सिचुएशन, दिस सिचुएशन कवर्स द decrease in the tax rate, and this situation cover the any notification by which the rate lower rate are being charged. Are you able to understand? Because there is a there is a notification 14 by 2017 which talks about if you satisfied all the condition, then you will make the supply at 0.1%. Even in the today morning, I have purchased the material and I'm making the supply to the merchant exporter, then also I will charge lower rate. It is the situation of different tax rate at same point of time. But in the last example, where the tax rate are different, but whether it is different at the same point of time, no sir. Because if you purchase in the today and you will make the sale today, it will be the same tax rate. If you are into the trading of item A, then the sale tax ka rate would be same at same point of time. When it could be different, if your purchase is prior to the tax reduction and sale is after tax reduction. So it is the different point of time. So this circular, there is a circular which we will talk about, but different tax rate at same point of time, inverted duty is permissible, and different tax rate at different point of time, inverted duty is not permissible. So this was covered in the circular 173. It talks about that in would be allowed in case where the accumulation of ITC is on account of the rate of the taxes on outward supply being less than the rate of the tax on the input same goods at same point of time. This term is very, very important because of some concessional notification issued by the government. So if I'm charging the less tax rate at same point of time, then it is not covered in the circular 135, and therefore I am entitled to take the refund. Fulfillment of other condition. Accordingly, the para 3.2 of the circular 135 is modified as under. So they have changes. ठीक है? I hope it is clear. Sanjay, different tax rate at different point of time, same point of time is clear or not? ठीक है ना? How many days would be on point of time? There is no fixed days. Even 1 day का difference. Just you need to check the tax rate are different because you purchase at different point of time, because prior to the rate reduction and after rate reduction, or it is because of some concessional rate notification. I can simply say different tax rate at different point of time would the mostly the situation would get covered only because of the rate changes. So there would be always 1 day ka difference. There would always be 1 day ka difference, right? Now, the issue gone to the High Court and then finally to the Supreme Court. In case of the VKC footsteps, you are not required to remember the case whether the section 54 subsection 3 clause 2 inverted duty, you are giving the refund of only input. You are not giving the refund of input, service and capital goods. So they are saying ki whether this is valid or service ka refund has to be given. Now, what is the conclusion? I'm not telling you, but I'm just telling you the formula has been changed. Just like to highlight. We will cover this 2 slides after the discussion, but after this judgment, the formula has been amended on 18th July 2022. Sorry, 5th July 2022, and there was a circular on 18th July giving the clarity. So, can I say, try to tell me, can I say that before this date, the refund was only of input, and after on or after this date, you are entitled to take the refund of input service also? Is it correct or not correct, or you do not have any idea? I'll explain accordingly, but I'm just like to check. Because after this date, after the amendment in the formula, the one point which everyone was saying that now you can take the refund of input service because the formula has been changed. Everyone was saying that under inverted duty, we are entitled to take the refund of input service also because the formula has been changed after the VKC footstep judgment. Any thought? Or that was the problem, Ayush. That was the initial problem, but later on that problem was resolved. But fine, no problem, Ayush. For the timing, I am asking the question as per the formula only. Forget for the timing the act. For the timing, you ignore the act. Changes in the formula, does it mean that I would be entitled to take the refund of input service also? According to formula only. Now, after that, we will go into the debate, कि rule versus act. That debate will do later on if required. बट अभी जो फॉर्मूला चेंज किया इसके कारण क्या मुझे इनपुट सर्विस का रिफंड मिलेगा? दैट इज माय प्लेन क्वेश्चन. The answer is no. Why no? Why the formula has been changed? Try to understand. Inverted duty, one thing is clear now. In the inverted duty, there will be some tax rate on outward supply. There will be some tax rate. If it is exempted, can you take the refund of accumulated ITC? Suppose if it is exempted, you are making the domestic supply. If it is exempted, can you take the refund of inverted duty? मिल जाएगा ना रिफंड या नहीं मिलेगा? Answer is in the law act itself, It is talking about other than nil rated or fully exempted. You will not be entitled to take the refund of nil rated or exempted. No. So I can say there will be some tax rate on outward supply. कुछ तो होगा ना. There will be some liability. Correct. Now divide the formula in two parts. Before minus, you please treat as one part, and after minus, you will treat as second part. First part you will find same as, it will be exactly same as export. In the export, what you are doing? In the export, we are doing that turnover of zero rated supplies divided by adjusted total turnover multiplied by net ITC. Correct? Same thing we are doing. Here we are taking the turnover of inverted rated supplies of the goods or services divided by adjusted total turnover multiplied by net ITC, no different. So first part is same. Second part, the older formula was ended at this stage. Revised formula has added one more factor into minus part. This is the calculation of the maximum refund. Why you are doing minus? See, you have calculated the, so by this we have, see, this is a mathematic. We need to understand from mathematic angle. You are calculating the proportionate ITC to the inverted duty supply. What you are doing here, you are saying that the portion of the ITC, which is used for inverted supply, how much it is. Now, then after that you will reduce. Earlier in the older formula, you are reducing the full tax liability. You are reducing the full tax liability. Now tell me one thing. This net ITC will be input service, capital goods or all? यहां पर जो आप ये नेट आईटीसी ले रहे हैं, विल इट बी इनपुट सर्विस, विल इट बी कैपिटल गुड्स और विल इट बी एनी कॉम्बिनेशन देयर ऑफ? यहां पर जो मैं नेट आईटीसी लूंगा वो कौन सा लूंगा? You will take the net ITC of input only. We will have the better clarity. We'll take one example. ठीक है? Just wait for some time. We'll take one example. अब मैं रेट किसका लूंगा? सिर्फ इनपुट का लूंगा. देन जब मैं माइनस करूंगा, अगर मैं इसको फुल टैक्स लाइबिलिटी माइनस कर दूंगा, if I will reduce the full tax liability, it represent that the liability can only be discharged through input. Now the formula is saying कि you will not reduce the full tax liability, you will reduce in the ratio of input and input service. तो जिस महीने में आप ये रिफंड कैलकुलेट कर रहे हैं, उस महीने में आपका इनपुट और इनपुट सर्विस का आईटीसी कितना था, मल्टीप्लाइड बाय नेट आईटीसी. इट्स नेट आईटीसी डिवाइडेड बाय दिस ITC on input and input service, then you calculate with the tax payable. If in the numerator and denominator, यहां पर आप ITC किसका ले रहे हैं? सिर्फ इनपुट का, और डिवाइड आप किससे कर रहे हैं? इनपुट प्लस इनपुट सर्विस. तो will the tax liability, tax payable would be डिक्रीज्ड और इंक्रीज्ड, जो माइनस आएगा, टोटल आउटकम की बात कर रहा हूं, ये जो माइनस अमाउंट आएगा, will it be decreased or will it be increased? This part you have added after the judgment. Earlier you are reducing the full tax liability. Now you are proportionately doing in the ratio of input. जब आप डिवाइड कोई ज्यादा नंबर से कर रहे हैं, then obviously the net outcome will be decreased and ultimately ये माइनस हो रहा है, तो कैन आई से द मैक्सिमम रिफंड अमाउंट विल बी इंक्रीज्ड? कैन आई से द मैक्सिमम रिफंड अमाउंट विल बी इंक्रीज्ड? अभी आपको पूरा समझ में नहीं आएगा जब तक मैं एक एग्जांपल नहीं कराऊंगा ना, यू विल नॉट बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड फुल्ली, बट कुछ पार्ट समझ में आया ना, मतलब यू विल बी एबल टू, होप यू विल बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड सम पार्ट एट लीस्ट. कुछ डाउट है तो पूछिए, एनी डाउट इफ यू हैव. नहीं तो चलो एक एग्जांपल कर लेते हैं. दिस एग्जांपल, ये फॉर्मूला भी मैंने आपके लिए कॉपी कर लिया. नाउ यू कैलकुलेट एंड टेल मी व्हाट इज द टोटल रिफंड. इन्वर्टेड डेटेड सेल 10 लाख है, अदर गुड्स की सेल 6 लाख है, टोटल सेल 16 लाख है. आईटीसी मैंने इनपुट पर 120, इनपुट सर्विस पर 30 और कैपिटल गुड्स पर 50 क्लेम किया. टोटल आईटीसी 2 लाख का. रेट ऑन इनपुट इज 18% एंड रेट ऑन आउटपुट इज 5%. प्लीज कैलकुलेट एंड टेल मी द मैक्सिमम रिफंड अमाउंट. बिट कॉम्प्लेक्स, यस. अभी आप समझ जाएंगे एंड देन आई विल अगेन डू द कंपैरिजन, तब आपको ज्यादा क्लैरिटी होगी. एक बार आप अपने हिसाब से मुझे ना वैल्यू बताते रहिए. लेट्स से कि ये मेरा 1 है, ये मेरा 2 है, ये मेरा 3 है, ये मेरा 4 है और ये मेरा 5 है. ठीक है. जस्ट टेल मी दी ऑल कंपोनेंट व्हाट विल बी द वन. आप मुझे एक एक करके बताते रहिए व्हाट विल बी द वन. संजय, 10 लाख इसने आंसर दिया. आयुष एग्री कर रहे हैं आप? डू यू एग्री विद दैट कि टर्नओवर ऑफ द इन्वर्टेड डेटेड सप्लाई इज 10 लाख रुपीज? डू यू एग्री विद दिस? तो 10 लाख लिख दिया. डिवाइडेड बाय कितना होगा एडजस्टेड टोटल टर्नओवर? यहां पर तो वो प्रॉब्लम ही नहीं थी ना कि दैट 1.5 टाइम्स शिपिंग बिल एटसेट्रा. देयर इज नो प्रॉब्लम इन दिस केस, राइट? देयर वाज नो प्रॉब्लम इन दिस केस, राइट संजय, आयुष? तो यहां पर मेरा सेकंड आया 16 लाख. संजय, डू यू एग्री विद दिस 16 लाख? ओके, 1.5 टाइम्स. तो दैट वाज ओनली फॉर एक्सपोर्ट. बेटर कि आपके माइंड में वो पॉइंट आ गया. नाउ व्हाट विल बी द नेट आईटीसी? व्हाट विल बी द नेट आईटीसी? 2 लाख, 120, 30, 150, 2 lakh. What could be the amount of net ITC? So both are saying same thing, 120. Then minus. अब पहले मुझे इसका वैल्यू बता दीजिए, व्हाट इज द वैल्यू ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर, इस कैलकुलेशन का आउटकम कितना आ रहा है, इस कैलकुलेशन का आउटकम कितना आ रहा है, इस कैलकुलेशन का आउटकम कितना, जस्ट टेल मी। 75,000। ठीक है, अब मैं एक बार इसको मिटा रहा हूं। मैंने यहां पे लिख दिया 75,000 माइनस, कैन यू टेल मी, टैक्स पेबल ऑन इन्वर्टेड डेटेड सप्लाईज ऑफ द गुड्स, 4 नंबर क्या है? What is the tax payable on the inverted dated supplies of the goods? Calculate. कितना अमाउंट आएगा? 10 लाख मेरी सेल है और 5% की टैक्स रेट है, सो कैन आई से इट विल बी द 50,000? कैन आई से इट विल बी द 50,000? यहां पर क्या था, फॉर्मूला खत्म हो गया था। इन द ओल्डर द फॉर्मूला वाज एंडेड एट दिस स्टेज। तो मतलब उस टाइम पे 75,000 का जो आईटीसी था उसमें से आपने क्या किया, पूरा 50,000 रिवर्स किया, माइनस किया, and then maximum refund was granted as 25,000 in the prior to change in the formula, prior to change। ठीक है, अब हम बात करें आफ्टर चेंज कितना हुआ। अब हम बात करें आफ्टर चेंज, अगेन 75,000 would remain same minus, now it says that 50,000 entire 50 will not be reduced। Why it will not be reduced? Because you have changed the formula. Interpret, we will interpret the formula in some time. First, tell me what is the net ITC? Already told 120. ITC availed on input and input service. Can you make the total and tell me what will come? ITC on input and input service. How much amount will come? How much amount? I will divide by how much amount? कितने अमाउंट से मैं डिवाइड करूंगा? It will be 120 plus 30, that is 150. Now 75,000 minus, can you tell me the outcome of this entire value, entire formula? कितना वैल्यू आएगा इसका? 3 4 40,000 आएगा आई थिंक। 5 3 15, 3 3 4 40,000, 40,000 करेक्ट है ना? एक बार जस्ट कंफर्म कर देना। सो व्हाट इज द मैक्सिमम रिफंड यू विल बी ग्रांटेड? 35,000। ये क्यों चेंज हुआ? अर्लियर यू आर गेटिंग द लेस रिफंड और मोर रिफंड, you are getting the more refund or less refund. Change in the formula has result into the change in the formula has result into the increase in the refund. क्यों? Why? Now try to understand. You are earlier reducing 50, now 40. The changes was, यहां पर आप पूरा 50 रिड्यूस कर रहे हैं। Why? It appears from the formula कि that 50 can be paid through 75 only. See, try to understand. In the what the court is saying, honorable court is saying that refund, there is a restriction that you will give the refund of input. No problem in that. Absolutely correct. So whatever you are taking here net ITC, this will remain always input. No problem. But आप जो माइनस कर रहे हैं, जो आप रिड्यूस कर रहे हैं, that reduction is, that reduction entire amount represent कि that आप इसकी जो लाइबिलिटी है वो सिर्फ आप आईटीसी ऑन इनपुट से पे कर सकते हैं, बट ऐसा नहीं है। It is not the case. You can use the input service also. Therefore, they are saying input divided by input plus input service. तो उन्होंने जो पहले पूरा 50 रिवर्स माइनस कर रहे थे, अब हमारा माइनस का फिगर कितना है? 40 आया। तो आउटकम क्या आया? आउटकम ये आया कि जो फिगर मैं माइनस करता था, अब वो पूरा फिगर माइनस नहीं करूंगा, आई विल रिड्यूस द लेस अमाउंट। वाई आई विल रिड्यूस द लेस अमाउंट? कि जो भी टैक्स लाइबिलिटी है, आई कैन यूज द इनपुट एज वेल एज इनपुट सर्विस, एंड वंस आई विल यूज इनपुट एंड इनपुट सर्विस, तो उस रेशियो में मैं इसको कम कर दूंगा, अल्टीमेटली विच रिजल्ट इनटू द हायर रिफंड। So by change in the formula, we are coming to the conclusion that still you are entitled to take the refund of input. By adding the input service in the minus part does not mean that you are getting the refund of input service. Does not mean that you are getting the refund of input service. What does it means? It means that earlier you are reducing the full liability from ITC of input, which is not correct, because law permit I can use the ITC of input as well as input service. So जहां पर पहले full liability हम reduce करते थे, वहां पे अब proportionately कुछ amount कम हो जाएगा, because it is change in the minus. So ultimately it will result into the increase in the refund. Is it clear, Ayush and Sanjay both? बहुत टफ है, इजी है, and still if you now would you like to ask any question, you can unmute and ask, no problem. You can unmute and ask your problem, जो भी आपका डाउट है.
Sir, actually, conclusion was not clear. मतलब why the part?
The see 50, see earlier what was the net outcome? 75 minus 50.
Yes, sir.
It means you are giving the refund of 25,000. हाँ,
Yes, sir.
आप रिड्यूस कितना करें? पूरा 50. तो
Right.
somehow you are saying कि जो टैक्स लाइबिलिटी है इन्वर्टेड वाली, वो सिर्फ और सिर्फ पे हो सकती है आईटीसी ऑन इनपुट. बट ऐसा नहीं है ना. इस लाइबिलिटी आप माइनस क्यों? सी इन्वर्टेड में होता क्या है? इफ द टैक्स रेट इज 18 ऑन इनपुट एंड टैक्स रेट ऑन आउटपुट इज 5, तो अल्टीमेटली यू विल गेट द रिफंड ऑफ 13.
Right.
करेक्ट ना? इस 13 तो आपने परसेंटेज टर्म में कहा, अब मैं एब्सोल्यूट वैल्यू में कह देता हूं. तो 18 आपका आया 75,000 यहाँ पे आईटीसी ऑन इनपुट. बट जो आपका ये 50,000 है, अब पूरा का पूरा मैं 50 माइनस कर रहा हूं, तो मैं ये कह रहा हूं इस फॉर्मूले में कि आई कैन पे द लाइबिलिटी ऑफ इनपुट थ्रू, आई कैन पे द लाइबिलिटी ऑन इन्वर्टेड ड्यूटी थ्रू इनपुट ओनली. मतलब मैं 50 कम कर रहा हूं और मैं ये कह रहा हूं ये 50 का पेमेंट सिर्फ किससे कर सकता हूं? मैं आईटीसी ऑन इनपुट ओनली. बट मेरा ऑफसेट का रूल तो सेक्शन 49 बताता है मुझे. 49(5) कहता है कि आप इनपुट भी यूज कर सकते हो, इनपुट सर्विस भी यूज कर सकते हो. देखो,
Right.
एक ऑल टुगेदर डिफरेंट फाइट है फॉर कैपिटल गुड्स, प्लीज इग्नोर फॉर द टाइम बिंग. अभी हम इनपुट और इनपुट सर्विस की बात करें. क्या लाइबिलिटी आप इनपुट सर्विस की आईटीसी को यूज करते हुए पे कर सकते हैं? आंसर
Yes,
इज
sir.
यस. आई कैन यूज इनपुट एज वेल एज इनपुट. तो कोर्ट ने कहा जो आप पूरा 50 माइनस कर रहे हो, बाय विच यू आर रिड्यूसिंग योर मैक्सिमम रिफंड अमाउंट, दैट इज नॉट करेक्ट. बिकॉज इफ यू हैव इनपुट सर्विस ऑल्सो इन दैट मंथ, जिस महीने में आप रिफंड ले रहे हैं, तो आप 50 का कुछ पोर्शन तो आप इनपुट सर्विस से भी पे कर सकते हैं और इनपुट से भी पे कर सकते हैं. तो पूरा 50 माइनस मत कीजिए, आप उस रेशियो में माइनस कीजिए जिस रेशियो में आपकी आईटीसी है. तो वंस आई विल रिड्यूस द लाइबिलिटी पार्ट इंस्टेड ऑफ फुल, अब मैं क्या कर रहा हूं? मेरा रेशियो क्या था? ये जो 50,000 की लाइबिलिटी थी, अब मेरा रेशियो था 12/15. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? मैंने ये माना कि 50,000 की जो लाइबिलिटी है, आई विल यूज 10,000 इनपुट सर्विस एंड 40,000 इनपुट. मैं रिफंड इन्वर्टेड ड्यूटी में मैक्सिमम दूंगा इनपुट का. तो आप यहां पर ये वाला पार्ट रिड्यूस कीजिए, कितना आपने पे किया लाइबिलिटी बाय यूजिंग द इनपुट. हाउ मच पोर्शन ऑफ द लाइबिलिटी यू पेड थ्रू इनपुट, ठीक है, उतना माइनस कीजिए, ना कि पूरा अमाउंट. बाय विच द by which the refund will increase from 25 to 35.
Okay, sir. If I put it in other words, like we had the example of 18% and 5%. So we are just saying that out of that 13 rupees difference, we can pay let's say 3 rupees from input services. So
हम्म.
the refund amount should be like should increase by that 3 rupees.
करेक्ट करेक्ट करेक्ट.
Okay,
एक
sir. Yes, sir.
और थोड़ा डिस्कस करते हैं 2 मिनट के लिए. एक ये मैंने एग्जांपल लिया था. लेट्स से इस एग्जांपल में रेट ऑन इनपुट 18 की जगह मान लीजिए इसके ऊपर था 28. एज्यूम कर लेता हूं फॉर द टाइम. और सर्विस के ऊपर 18 था फॉर द टाइमिंग. तो इस केस में रिफंड कितना मिलता? 10%? नहीं, 10%
नहीं मिल
प्लस सम मोर अमाउंट. क्यों सम मोर अमाउंट? क्योंकि ये जो इसकी लाइबिलिटी है, ये लाइबिलिटी आप इनपुट सर्विस की आईटीसी से भी तो यूज करोगे.
राइट.
तो देन दिस पोर्शन कितना एक्सेस मिलेगा? जो आपका रेशियो है इनपुट डिवाइडेड बाय इनपुट प्लस इनपुट सर्विस, इस रेशियो से आपको वो इंक्रीज हो जाएगा.
राइट. यस सर. थैंक यू समझ गया सर. थैंक यू.
ओके ओके. आ, ये वाला बात समझने में बहुत टाइम लगता है. आई होप मतलब मैंने आपको एक्सप्लेन कर दिया. इट इज मतलब ऑलवेज कंफ्यूजन. इट इज नॉट कि एट स्टूडेंट लेवल इट इज अ कंफ्यूजन. इन द प्रोफेशनल, इन द प्रैक्टिकल लाइफ देयर इज अ कंफ्यूजन ऑल्सो. कि भाई इसके कारण क्या इनपुट सर्विस द पीपल आर अप्लाइंग द रिफंड बाई एडिंग द इनपुट सर्विस ऑल्सो. नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है. सिर्फ डिनोमिनेटर और नोमिनेटर जो पार्ट माइनस हो रहा है वहां पे चेंज हुआ है, ना कि नेट आईटीसी चेंज हुआ है. ठीक है. अब हमने जो बात की थी यहां पर, जो बात की थी नोटिफिकेशन की, इसमें क्या है, दो नोटिफिकेशन इश्यू है. ब्रॉडली आप समझ लीजिए. नोटिफिकेशन 5 बेसिकली किन गुड्स के मना करता है, और नोटिफिकेशन 15 किन सर्विस का मना करता है. मेरे हिसाब से डिटेल्ड में आपके नहीं है, आप सिर्फ एक बेसिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग ले लीजिए. देन गवर्नमेंट ऑन द रिकमेंडेशन सर्टेन फॉर इंस्टेंसेज. देखो, सर्विस में जो नोटिफिकेशन नंबर 15/2017 है वो बात करता है पैरा 5B ऑफ द शेड्यूल 2. कैन एनीवन टेल मी कि शेड्यूल 2 का पैरा 5 क्लॉज बी क्या चीज का था? सर्विस में एक कैटेगरी मना है, ये क्या चीज है? एनीवन हैव एनी आइडिया? पैरा 6 का जो फर्स्ट क्लॉज है वो बात करता है वर्क्स कॉन्ट्रैक्ट की. ठीक है. एंड पैरा 5 भी बात करता है जो सेल ऑफ रियल एस्टेट की बात करता हूं, लैंड एंड बिल्डिंग, सेल ऑफ लैंड एंड बिल्डिंग अंडर कंस्ट्रक्शन. तो इफ यू आर इनटू द बिजनेस ऑफ लैंड एंड बिल्डिंग, यू आर मेकिंग द सेल एट लेट्स से 5% और 1%. ठीक है. एंड यू आर परचेजिंग द सीमेंट एट 18%. सीमेंट गुड्स, will you be entitled to take the refund? Answer is no, because government is saying that you cannot take the refund of inverted duty in this case land and building. But वहीं पे क्या हुआ? Let's say I am in the government, I am a government contractor. I have received the contract of making the bridge. I have received the contract of making the bridge. Let's say total value 1 करोड़ की है, 10 करोड़ मान लीजिए, एंड टैक्स रेट 18% है. मैक्सिमम इसमें ना 70-80% सीमेंट का काम होता है. जितना भी परसेंटेज काम हो मुझे आइडिया नहीं. जस्ट आई एम सेइंग दैट मेजर पोर्शन इज सीमेंट, एंड सीमेंट अट्रैक्ट 28%. ठीक है. तो देन वुड यू बी एंटाइटल्ड टू टेक द रिफंड? आंसर इज यस. व्हाई? बिकॉज पैरा 5B स्पेसिफिकली ऐड किया है. दिस वाज नॉट सिंस बिगनिंग. दिस वाज नॉट सिंस बिगनिंग. What was the problem in the market? The problem in the market that work contract are not entitled to take the refund. No, that is not the case. Which service are being restricted from the refund of inverted duty? The service was para 5B of the schedule 2. That is sale of land and building before construction, under construction, not after completion. तो इन्होंने स्पेसिफिकली कहा, तो बाय विच यू आर नाउ एंटाइटल्ड टू टेक द रिफंड ऑफ पैरा 6 फर्स्ट पैरा जो है, विच टॉक्स अबाउट द वर्क कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. एंड इफ यू आर द वर्क कॉन्ट्रैक्टर, यू कैन वेरी वेल टेक द रिफंड ऑफ इन्वर्टेड ड्यूटी, नो प्रॉब्लम एट ऑल. ठीक है. एंड देन गुड्स में क्या कवर है? ये फर्स्ट नोटिफिकेशन की बात कर दी. गुड्स के केस में क्या? रेल लोकोमोटिव पावर्ड फ्रॉम एक्सटर्नल सोर्स ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, सोयाबीन ऑयल, पाम ऑयल, ऑलिव ऑयल, इन सब में वो आईटीसी इन्वर्टेड ड्यूटी का मना किया है। ठीक है, ये वाला फॉर्मूला हम समझ लेते हैं। ये वाला एक ट्रांजेक्शन समझिए। इस ट्रांजेक्शन को, एक सेकेंड, ठीक है। इस ट्रांजेक्शन को समझिए। आई एम परचेजिंग द raw material A at 28%, raw material B 18%. I am manufacturing and supplying the item which attract tax rate of 5%. Is it inverted duty or not? Just tell me. This stage तक मुझे बताइए, is it inverted duty, yes or no? Both are goods, all are goods. Answer is yes, it is inverted duty. Now I am adding more fact. Now this person has exported the goods on payment of IGST. How much tax he will pay? 5%. Will he file the refund application? Will he file the refund application in this case? No, it is an automatic. कितना refund आएगा automatic? कितना refund आएगा automatic? How much refund we will get? 5% or 28 or 18? कितना refund आएगा? 5%, 28% or 18%? How much refund he will get? Only 5. Because he has paid 5% only now. See, export of the goods on payment of IGST, how much refund would be given? How much refund would be given? Refund would be given to the extent you paid the taxes. मैंने टैक्स कितना पे किया? I have paid 5%. So you will receive the automatic 5% only. After 5%, don't you think that still there will be the huge accumulated ITC? ये 5% अगर उसको मिल गया, उसके बाद भी उसके पास में accumulated ITC काफी ज्यादा होगा. Do you agree with this point? Answer is yes, because he get only 5, but he has ITC of 28 and 18. So there will be the huge ITC. Now he is going the refund of ITC under inverted duty. Correct? So will he get the refund of inverted duty? Because he still have the inverted duty. So the answer would be no. And why no, you know? Reason is he will not be able to get the refund of accumulated ITC because, let me go back. Give me 1 minute. The proviso says, this proviso says, now I have given the example for this proviso. Section 54, subsection 3. First proviso we have already discussed. Second was omitted. Now it says, provided that no refund of input tax credit shall be allowed if the supplier has claimed the refund of IGST paid on that supply. In this case, Mr. Whomsoever is exporter, एक्सपोर्टर ने ऑन आईजीएसटी रूट फॉलो किया, सो ऑटोमेटिकली ही गेट द रिफंड ऑफ आईजीएसटी. जितना भी इसने आईजीएसटी पे किया, वेदर ही गॉट द रिफंड ऑफ आईजीएसटी पेड और नॉट. सर एक्सपोर्ट किया, आईजीएसटी पेबल था, उसने आईजीएसटी पे किया, ऑटोमेटिक रूट के थ्रू आ गया. नाउ ही कैन नॉट गो फॉर द रिफंड ऑफ एक्यूमुलेटेड आईटीसी. सो दैट इज द प्रॉब्लम. So by this, we are normally saying, if you are exporting and you have the inversion, if you are exporting, you have the inversion, then what would be your suggestion? You please tell me in this case what he should do. In this case, what he should do? He will always be in the loss, or any suggestion? Sanjay, got the point now? Why can't he get the ITC ka refund? Because of that proviso. Because of the third proviso of section. If you have taken the refund of IGST, you can't take the refund of ITC. So I have written the proviso for better clarity. So it's saying that if you have taken the refund of IGST paid on that supply, then you cannot take the refund of accumulated ITC. So what is the best route? He should not pay the tax. He should go under LUT route. In the LUT route, what he will get? He will get all accumulated ITC refund. As per the formula which we have discussed, 89.4, which we have discussed, that whatever he sell, the export item, accumulated ITC, full ITC will be refunded to that account. Is that clear to both? I was thinking, great. क्लियर है ना दोनों को? ठीक है. Government on the recommendation, yes, that I want told, that I told. Here, that whatever amendment we have discussed regarding that, there was a circular 181 which talks about it is not clarifactory in the nature and is applicable prospectively with effect from 5th July. Changes in the formula that was explained, it was not prospectively. Circular says that amendment was not retrospectively, it was prospectively. Sorry, रेट्रो नहीं था. रेट्रो मतलब पुरानी डेट्स एप्लीकेबल नहीं है. अगर रिफंड ऑन और आफ्टर 18 जुलाई है तभी आपको मिलेगा. will be dealt as per the formula as it exists before the amendment. So अगर आपका रिफंड बिफोर दिस डेट है, 5th जुलाई से पहले का है, तो मैंने 18 जुलाई आई थिंक आई हैव रॉन्गली यूज्ड. इट इज 18 जुलाई कुछ भी नहीं है. ठीक है. सर्कुलर 181 इज टॉक्स अबाउट कि दैट जो भी चेंजेस इन द रिफंड है, चेंजेस इन द रिफंड फॉर्मूला, दैट इज प्रोस्पेक्टिव चेंजेस. सो बिफोर 5th जुलाई है तो आपको जो एग्जिस्टिंग फॉर्मूला था उसके पहले, that you will use, and after that date you will use the revised formula. और यहां पर जो नेट आईटीसी उसका मतलब क्या है? आईटीसी ऑन इनपुट ओनली. सो इनपुट सर्विस एंड कैपिटल गुड्स will not be added in the net ITC. ठीक है. ठीक है. जस्ट टेक ए ब्रेक ऑफ 10 मिनट. तो इन्वर्टेड ड्यूटी का मेजर पार्ट कंप्लीट हो गया. इफ देर इज एन स्मॉल पार्ट वी विल डिस्कस. टेक ए ब्रेक ऑफ 10 मिनट एंड वी विल रिज्यूम एट 9:20 and then discuss the rest of the part. Ashok ji. categories of the refund. That is section 77. Now, which talks about tax you have wrongfully calculated and paid to the government, like intra become inter or vice versa. Try to understand. Section 77 says a registered person who has paid the CGST and SGST, or as the case may be CGST and UTGST, on a transaction considered by him to be an intra, but which is subsequently held to be an interstate supply, that will be refunded the amount of the taxes in such manner subject to such condition as may be prescribed. Fine. It also says that registered person was paid the IGST on the transaction considered by him an interstate supply, but which is subsequently held to be an intra, shall not be required to pay interest on the amount of the CGST and SGST, as the case may be GST and UTGST. Now tell me whether both are talking the same thing or different thing. एक बात तो समझ में आ गई, shall not be required to pay interest. ठीक है, जिस रॉन्ग ट्रांजेक्शन की बात सबसेक्शन 1 में कर रहे हैं, क्या उसी की बात सबसेक्शन 2 में कर रहे हैं, या उन्होंने हेड चेंज कर दिया? यहां पे कुछ मिस्टेक हुआ था, उसके रिफंड की बात कर रहे हैं. आर दे टॉकिंग अबाउट सेम मिस्टेक और जस्ट ऑपोजिट मिस्टेक? हेड चेंज हो गया, क्यों भाई? इंटरेस्ट नहीं लगेगा, इसको तो सेम ही कहना था ना. मतलब ये तो सेम ही कहेगा ना, इंटरेस्ट नहीं लगेगा. इफ ही हैज मेड द हेड चेंजेस, देन व्हाट इज द मीनिंग? मतलब ऊपर कुछ बात कह रहा है, नीचे कुछ अलग बात कह रहा है, तो फिर इंटरेस्ट डिमांड कर लेंगे ना, सीजीएसटी एसजीएसटी या आईजीएसटी जो भी है. प्रॉब्लम है. हाँ प्रॉब्लम है. क्यों प्रॉब्लम है? हम ये कौन सा एक्ट रीड करें? सीजीएसटी. तो सीजीएसटी, कैन द सीजीएसटी से कि नो इंटरेस्ट ऑन आईजीएसटी? कैन द सीजीएसटी सेक्शन से कि दैट नो इंटरेस्ट विल बी लेविएबल अंडर आईजीएसटी? कैन ही से सो? नो. इट सेज दैट, सी, can he say that you can take the refund of IGST? Can he say that you can take the refund of IGST? No. Whatever he will say of CGST only. तो इंटरेस्ट और रिफंड ये सबसेक्शन 1 है और ये सबसेक्शन 2 है. इन दोनों को अगर मैं समझूं तो ये कह रहा है जो रॉन्ग टैक्स पे किया उसका रिफंड ले लो, और जो करेक्ट टैक्स है वो आप जमा कर दो, पर करेक्ट टैक्स में आपका इंटरेस्ट नहीं लगेगा. नाउ आई एम डिवाइडिंग इन टू पार्ट. I'm dividing in two parts. First, you have treated the transaction as intra and paid CGST and SGST. Subsequently, it is inter. कौन सा टैक्स पे करोगे? कौन सा टैक्स पे करोगे? Which you will pay. Which you will pay? IGST. And which you will take refund? You will take the refund of CGST and SGST. Correct. आप लेट कौन सा टैक्स पे कर रहे हो? विच टैक्स यू आर पेइंग लेट? इज इट C&S यू आर पेइंग लेट और I यू आर पेइंग लेट? I. So when you are paying late, it says no interest. But कौन सा टैक्स लेट पे कर रहे हो? IGST. तो you have to refer section 19 subsection 2 of IGST. No interest on IGST. तो ये बात कौन बोलेगा? सी नहीं बोल सकता. Now read, registered person who is paid C and S, as the case may be on the transaction considered by him to be intra, which is subsequently held to be inter, shall not be required to pay the interest on IGST. Who will say 19 subsection 2 of IGST? And refund किसका चाहिए? C and S. ये बात कौन बोलेगा? ये बात सेक्शन 17 बोलेगा, 77 बोलेगा. Read 77 subsection 1. It says that you can take the refund of the amount of taxes C and S. Or just opposite, if you are talking about interstate supply subsequently held intra, I'm just taking the opposite example. Interstate supply subsequently held intra, तो कौन सा टैक्स आपने ऑलरेडी पे करके रखा है? विच टैक्स इज ऑलरेडी पेड? विच टैक्स इज ऑलरेडी पेड? इट इज IGST. Which tax you will pay now? You will pay late. Which tax you will pay? It will be C and S. So interest किस में नहीं लगेगा? IGST में नहीं लगेगा, C plus S में नहीं लगेगा. Interest will not be there on which tax? C plus S, no interest. So you will refer 17 subsection 2 of CGST. आपको रिफंड किसका चाहिए? CS का चाहिए या I का चाहिए? You require the refund of CS or I? You require the refund of IGST. So you have to refer section 19 subsection 1 of IGST Act. Is it clear? Is it clear? Now you read the 19. A registered person who has paid the integrated tax on a supply considered by him to be an interstate, but which is subsequently held to be intra, shall be granted the refund of amount of IGST so paid in such manner, such condition as may be prescribed. Now this has two problems. This has two problems. कौन सी पहली प्रॉब्लम? एज में बी प्रिस्क्राइब्ड का मतलब क्या होता है? प्रिस्क्राइब्ड का मतलब क्या होगा? विल देयर बी नोटिफिकेशन? विल देयर बी सर्कुलर? विल देयर बी रूल? व्हाट वुड बी देयर? There will be rules. And it was not given since beginning. In the beginning, अब तो उन्होंने दे दिया. It was not given in the rule. जब इन्होंने रूल ही नहीं दिया था, तो हाउ यू विल कैलकुलेट? नो क्लैरिटी. इसका ही एक प्रॉब्लम और था. इसी का मैं सबसेट कह सकता हूं. प्रॉब्लम क्या था? आपने IGST पे किया मान लो 1 अप्रैल 2018 को. आपको ये जो सब्सिक्वेंटली हेल्ड हुआ ना, ये कब मालूम चला? ये मालूम चला 1 अप्रैल 2022 में. आपको मालूम चला, खुद को मालूम चला. इट इज नॉट बीइंग आइडेंटिफाइड बाय एनी अदर पर्सन. तो आपको मालूम चला एंड यू हैव पेड द करेक्ट टैक्स, दैट इज CGST SGST. जब आप रिफंड इसके लिए अप्लाई करने जाते थे, व्हेन यू आर गोइंग फॉर द रिफंड ऑफ IGST, डिपार्टमेंट इज रिजेक्टिंग द रिफंड. व्हाई? Department is rejecting the refund. Why? Because of 2 year has been expired. Get it? Now the problem, think about the problem of this SSC. Whether he has not paid the taxes 2 times, whether he has not paid the taxes 2 times, इसने पहले पे किया और बाद में इसने पहले पे किया एंड बाद में इसने वापस पे कर दिया. पहले IGST पे किया, बाद में इसने ये पे किया, एंड अल्टीमेटली नो रिफंड. इट विल लीड टू द डबल टैक्स. It will lead to the double payment, 2 times payment of the taxes. What is the solution? For this two problem, they have made the rule, and we will read the rule in next slide. Second problem अभी तक मैंने आपको बताई नहीं है. I will discuss the second problem in some minutes. They have inserted the rule on 24th September 2021. Any person claiming the refund in respect of the transaction considered by him to be an intra, which is subsequently held to be inter, before the expiry period of 2 years from the date of the payment of tax, may before 2 years can file the refund, and 2 year का counting would be from the date of the payment of the tax on interstate supply. क्या कह रहा है ये हम किसका रूल रीड कर रहे हैं? रूल 89 ऑफ द CGST रूल्स. तो वो किसके रिफंड की बात कर सकता है? He can only talk about the refund of CGST and SGST, right? तो इसने क्या किया? You have treated the transaction as inter, and then once you pay the correct tax, not inter. Once you pay the correct tax and take the refund of wrong tax, कौन सा wrong tax? C and S. तो 2 year का counting would be from the date of the payment of inter. जब आपने wrong pay किया था, वहां से नहीं काउंट होगा. It will be counted from the date when you have paid the correct tax. Let's read once again. In respect of the transaction considered by him to be intra, intra पर कौन सा टैक्स पे किया? C plus S, which is subsequently held to be inter. तो आपने correct tax कौन सा पे किया? I. You have paid the correct taxes. You have paid the correct taxes on 1/4/2022, let's say, and you have paid the wrong taxes on 1/4/18. So it says that you may apply for the refund before the expiry of the 2 year, and 2 year would be counted from the date of the payment of tax on inter. तो जब आपने करेक्ट टैक्स पे किया 1/4/22 को, यहां से 2 साल तक आप इसका रिफंड ले सकते हैं. And because the rule was late, so all the past cases they have made from this date, you can take the refund of 2 years. Coming into force, we apply before the expiry of 2 years from the date of. So 2 साल की उनको extension मिल गया था. That is altogether different, but have you understood the point? Correct. अब second problem की बात करता हूं. Now I am talking about second problem. What was the second problem? Second problem थी ये. Second problem थी ये. क्या मतलब? When I go to the department, they are rejecting the refund. Why refund? The one problem that 2 year has been expired. That problem, and second problem, it is subsequently held to be inter. Subsequently held मतलब क्या हुआ कि ये जो आइडेंटिफिकेशन है, will this identification be made by the tax officer only or by the taxpayer? This point has been clarified by the circular 162. How they have clarified? They have clarified that subsequently held cover both the cases where inter or intra made by the taxpayer is either subsequently found by taxpayer himself as intra, or where it has been subsequently found in any proceeding. Accordingly, refund claim can be by the taxpayer in both the above mentioned situation. चाहे वो subsequently identify taxpayer करे या subsequently identify officer करे. Is that clear? And this point मैंने आपको explain कर दिया कि ये वाला कोई मतलब नहीं. This is not relevant for you and you can ignore the same. This I have told you. Correct. I hope it is clear. Now, let's talk about the 2 years का time limit will be 2 years का time limit will be from the relevant date. Tell me the situations where 2 year का time limit would not be counted. Tell me the situation where 2 year का time limit would not be applicable. Refund of electronic credit ledger, is it? A refund of cash ledger. Correct. Refund of electronic cash ledger. Correct. So now the 2 year would be from the relevant date. It is different in every situations. Situation number one, goods exported out of India. Then how it is exported. If it is exported by sea or air, date on which the ship or aircraft on which goods are loaded leaves India. Goods are exported by land, date on which the goods pass the frontier, custom frontier of India. Goods are exported by post, date of the dispatch by the post office to a place outside India. Correct? In case of the deemed export, what is the time limit of 2 years? Where the refund of tax paid is available in respect of goods, date on which the returns relating to the deemed export is furnished. Now the question on this category we will discuss subsequently in the next class when we will talk about the deemed export in detail. But the problem is date. So let me slightly talk about here only. I may miss the date on which the return relating to the deemed export is furnished. In this case, who will take the refund? Deemed export के केस में supply refund लेगा या recipient लेगा? Who will take the refund in case of the deemed export? Anyone can take ना, मतलब कोई भी ले सकता है, either supplier or the recipient. कोई भी ले सकता है ना. In the case of the deemed export, any party can take the refund. Correct? So the point is, तो अगर ये क्वेश्चन आया, if the recipient taking the refund, then we will talk about the returns furnished by the recipient or by the supplier only. It has been clarified that the returns would always be of supplier where the deemed export supply has been reported. Where the deemed export supply has been reported as an outward supply. तो deemed export की supply कौन report करेगा? Supplier. तो यहाँ पे जो returns की बात है, even though we know the refund in case of the deemed export can be taken either by the supplier or by the recipient, by any one party. But जो 2 year का time limit है, would be counted the return of supplier where he has reported the deemed export supply. So the date on which the return, irrespective of the fact whether the refund is claimed by the supplier or by the recipient, as the tax on supply of the goods would be paid by the supplier, therefore the relevant date would be the date related to such supply by the supplier only. Clear हो गया? In case of the zero rated supplies of the goods, in case of the zero rated supplies of the goods or services or both to the SEZ unit or developer, the 2 year का time limit would be counted to due date from the due date of furnishing the return under section 39 in respect of that supply. It means the GSTR 3B का due date. Is it due date or actual date of filing? Always due date, sir. Because actual अगर मैं फाइल करूंगा लेट तो द बेनिफिट वुड बी देयर कि मतलब वो लेट उसको रिफंड मिलेगा. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? अगर मैं जीरो रेटेड सप्लाई कर रहा हूं गुड्स और सर्विसेज का टू द एसईजेड यूनिट और डेवलपर, देन हियर whether SEZ would take the refund or supplier will take the refund or any party can take the refund. only supplier. So due date of furnishing the return of supplier only under section 39. अगर मैं सर्विस एक्सपोर्ट कर रहा हूं आउट ऑफ इंडिया, if I'm exporting the service, then refund will be read these two clause, but conclusion would be invoice or payment, whichever is later. इन दो क्लॉज को रीड करेंगे, बट इनका कंक्लूजन क्या है? इनवॉइस और पेमेंट whichever is later. Correct? Let's read. The supply of the service had been completed prior to the payment. मैंने सर्विस कंप्लीट कर ली, पेमेंट बाद में आया. Then date of the payment will be considered. 2 year would be counted from the date of the payment. Invoice पहले, पेमेंट बाद में, तो 2 year की काउंटिंग कहां से होगी? पेमेंट की डेट से. मतलब invoice or payment whichever is later. Now read the second clause. Payment in advance prior to the date of invoice, then 2 year would be counted from invoice. मतलब मुझे एडवांस आज मिल गया, इनवॉइस मैं कल इश्यू करूंगा, तो 2 year would be counted from tomorrow. 2 year would be counted from invoice. Again, same concept, invoice or payment whichever is later. So remember that invoice or payment whichever is later is concept is being followed in counting of 2 year also, and in counting of in calculating the refund also. Where the tax become refundable because of judgment, decree, order, or the direction, then obviously date of the communication of that judgment or decree or order or direction. In case of the unutilized refund of ITC duty structure, inverted duty structure, due date of furnishing the return under section 39 for the period in which such claim for the refund arise. And in case where the tax is provisionally paid under this act, then date of the adjustment of the tax after the final assessment. In case of the person other than the supplier, the date of the receipt of the goods or services or both by such person. Any other case, date of payment. तो आई होप इट इज क्लियर. तो ये सारे सिचुएशन थी जहां पर हमारा 2 year. आज का क्लास यहीं पे डन है, कंप्लीट है. एंड नाउ लास्ट 10-15 मिनट जो भी बचा हुआ है, वी विल डू द क्विक राउंड ऑफ द रिवीजन क्वेश्चन आंसर. अभी आपका कोई क्वेश्चन है तो मुझे पहले बता दीजिए, एंड देन विल स्टार्ट द फायर राउंड ऑफ द क्वेश्चन. स्टार्ट करें? शेल वी स्टार्ट? ठीक है, समझो, स्टार्ट करते हैं. How many conditions are there for export of the goods? 3, 5, whatever. Export of the goods. How many conditions are there for export of goods? How many conditions are there? Export of the goods, how many conditions are there? Can you tell me any two conditions? Can you tell me any two conditions? For export of goods, there is only one condition. For export of the goods, there is only one condition, that is physical movement from India to out of India. That's it. For export of the service, how many conditions are there? For export of service, how many conditions are there? Correct. Can the payment be received in INR for export of service? can the payment be received in INR for export of the service? Answer is yes, if permitted by Reserve Bank of India. If permitted by Reserve Bank of India. Can you tell me any two situations where it is assumed that yes, it is permitted? कोई ऐसे एक या दो सिचुएशन बता सकते हो जहां पे जो हमने डिस्कस किया था, माइट बी बाय वे ऑफ सर्कुलर, माइट बी बाय वे ऑफ डिस्कशन, तो जहां पर अगर आईएनआर में आता है तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. वन इज एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट, नेपाल एंड भूटान को एक्सपोर्ट ऑफ सर्विस. यस, एनी वन मोर सिचुएशन? एनी वन और मोर सिचुएशन? वन सिचुएशन यू करेक्टली टोल्ड. एक और सिचुएशन और बता सकते हैं जहां पर हमने यही बात किया था कि अमाउंट जो रिसीव्ड हो रहा है वो आईएनआर में आ रहा है, तब भी कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. एंड वन मोर इज वॉस्ट्रो अकाउंट, अमाउंट पेड बाय द वॉस्ट्रो अकाउंट, वॉस्ट्रो आईएनआर अकाउंट ना, जहां पे आरबीआई परमिटेड है. करेक्ट 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 करेक्ट. आईटीसी का रिफंड इज परमिटेड इन टू सिचुएशन. काइंडली टेल मी इन विच सिचुएशन रिफंड ऑफ आईटीसी इज परमिटेड? ZRS and ID. संजय, संजय ना, मैं एक बार ना चैट को प्राइवेट कर देता हूं, ज्यादा बेटर रहेगा. सो यू बोथ विल बी एबल टू गिव द रिप्लाई, राइट? अब चैट सिर्फ मुझे विजिबल होगी. नाउ यू कैन नॉट सी टू ईच अदर, तो बोथ पार्टीज आर रिक्वायर्ड टू गिव द आंसर. आप रिक्वेस्टेड टू बोथ, बोथ नीड टू गिव द आंसर सेपरेटली. हाँ, संजय क्वेश्चन मेरा ये था, संजय क्वेश्चन मेरा ये था कि refund of ITC is permitted in which two cases? The first is zero rated supplies and second is inverted, right? Right. In the zero rated supplies, if I am making the export under LUT, then I am taking the refund of accumulated ITC. So here the refund of ITC would be permitted of input service or capital goods. जीरो रेटेड सप्लाईज में जब मैं रिफंड के लिए अप्लाई करूंगा, देन द नेट आईटीसी वुड बी आईटीसी ऑन इनपुट, इनपुट प्लस इनपुट सर्विस और इनपुट प्लस इनपुट सर्विस प्लस कैपिटल गुड्स, ऑल थ्री. चलो, एक मैंने चीज ये मिस हो गई थी मेरे से. आई हैव नॉट टॉक्ड अबाउट, आई हैव नॉट टॉक्ड अबाउट input service. Only two component would be permitted in case zero rated supplies under LUT. देखो, एक मैं डिफरेंशिएट कर देता हूं अभी. अगर आप LUT रूट में जाते हैं, where you are taking the refund of accumulated ITC, then you can take the refund of only two component, input and input service. But अगर आप IGST रूट में जाते हैं, then you can use the ITC of any component to make the payment. Suppose you have the ITC of the capital goods in that month. You have the export and there is a liability which you have discharges through ITC of capital goods. Can you do the payment of liability by using the ITC of capital goods? Can you use the capital goods का ITC to discharge any liability? Answer is yes. There is no problem. There is no problem. You can use the ITC of any component, whether it is input, input service or capital goods, for discharging the liability. If you are using the liability, if you are paying the liability, then you will refund the entire, you will get the refund of entire amount, irrespective of the fact whether you paid through ITC of input, through ITC of input service, or even through ITC of capital goods. But If you are going the refund which route under LUT, then on accumulated ITC ka refund, in that case, you are entitled to take the refund of input and input service. So always you may check, or you can talk about practically, you may always be asked that which route I should adopt. अगर मेरे पास कैपिटल गुड्स का आईटीसी ज्यादा है, आई विल गो बाय द ऑन आईजीएसटी रूट. किस केस में मैं ऑन आईजीएसटी नहीं रूट फॉलो नहीं कर सकता? इन विच केस आई कैन नॉट फॉलो द रूट ऑफ आईजीएसटी? इन विच केस आई कांट फॉलो द रूट ऑफ आईजीएसटी? नहीं 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 नहीं, क्वेश्चन अलग आयुष. आई एम आस्किंग in which you cannot export the goods on payment of IGST. You have to compulsory follow the route of LUT. In which case? Correct. टोबैको, पान मसाला एटसेट्रा, जहां पे आप एक्सपोर्ट करेंगे ऑन LUT, on furnishing of letter of undertaking only. Correct. In which case, either supplier or the recipient, any one party can take the refund. In which case, either supplier or the recipient, any one party can take the refund. In which categories of the refund, either supplier or recipient, any one party can go and take the refund. The answer is deemed export. Correct. Time limit is how many years from the how many year for taking the refund? What is the time limit to take the refund? How many years? It is 2 years. And 2 year would be counted from which date? 2 year would be counted from which date? 2 year would be counted from which date? Relevant date. 2 year would be counted from which date? Relevant date. And relevant date is different in each cases, right, Sanjay? Relevant date is different in each cases. Absolutely correct. Can you tell me the relevant date in case of the inverted duty structures? Can you tell me the relevant date in case of the inverted duty structures? Relevant date in case of the inverted duty structures. Due date of filing the GSTR, which GST return? Due date of filing of the return under section 39, that is GSTR 3B. Absolutely correct. That is GSTR 3B. Now, the formula. So you may take some time. Can you tell me the formula for export? Refund formula, maximum refund amount for export. It is a very simple formula. You can take 1 minute and type. Okay, fine, no problem. Leave it, leave it. It is a long formula. Leave it. You tell me. So we are dividing the adjusted total turnover. We are using the export divided by adjusted total turnover. Correct? Can you tell me the two scenario where the value of export as per my invoice or as per my books would not be used for the refund? There will be the different value. कौन से ऐसे दो केस हैं जब मैं डिफरेंट अमाउंट यूज करूंगा फॉर द एक्सपोर्ट टर्नओवर? इन विच टू केसेस आई विल यूज द डिफरेंट अमाउंट कंपेयर टू बुक्स, कंपेयर टू टैक्स इनवॉइस? मेरा टैक्स इनवॉइस कुछ अलग अमाउंट का है, बट आई विल यूज द डिफरेंट अमाउंट व्हेन आई एम अप्लाइंग फॉर द रिफंड. Turnover of zero rated supplies of the goods. Any idea? No answer? अच्छा आयुष, एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट. बहुत बढ़िया, बहुत बढ़िया, वेरी नाइस. and Sanjay also. Very nice, beta. So one is, if you are exporting the goods and the sale is more than 1.5 times of the domestic price, export sales price is more than 1.5 times, then you will be restricted to 1.5 times. And second case, if you are exporting on, let's say, CIF, but for the purpose of the refund, it will always FOB basis. Now, adjusted total turnover would be same which we have used in the above, or it will be as per books. Adjusted total turnover, the component of export would be same which we have used in the same as above, or will be as per books only, as per the refund formula or as per the books. The answer is as per, same as we have used in the calculation of refund. It will not be as per books, because if I will use as per books, then it will create the problem. Can we say, because of changes in the formula of inverted duty structure from 5th July 2022, can we say that now you are permitted the refund of input service also in the inverted duty? The answer is no. Why the formula has been changed? So that instead of reduction of entire liability from ITC of input, you should use the proportionate liability, which is to be discharged in the ratio of input and input service. हाँ, नहीं 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 नहीं, इनडायरेक्टली इट इज अलाउड यार, ये सही नहीं है संजय, मतलब ये वर्ड ही गलत हो जाएगा, टेक्निकली इट विल बी रॉन्ग. Neither you can say directly nor you can say indirectly. In any situation it is not allowed. वो जो यूज कर रहे हैं उसका मतलब है, जो पहले मैं पूरी लाइबिलिटी कम करता था, नाउ आई एम रिड्यूसिंग द लेस लाइबिलिटी. व्हाई आई एम रिड्यूसिंग द लेस लाइबिलिटी? क्योंकि लाइबिलिटी डिस्चार्ज करने के लिए सेक्शन 49 डज नॉट क्रिएट एनी रेस्ट्रिक्शन. ठीक है, ठीक है ना. सो if amount of export of service is not received within the time permitted by FEMA, do I need to refund back the amount? Do I need to return the refund amount? Listen my question carefully. Listen my question carefully. I am doing the export of service and I have not received the realization in the foreign currency within the time limit. Do I need to give back the refund within 30 days? Sir, this is applicable in goods. Because services, you are not entitled to take the refund till the time limit, till the time you do not receive the realization. तो मैं रिफंड हमेशा रियलाइजेशन के बाद ही लेता हूं सर्विस के केस में. करेक्ट. वो सिचुएशन कब हो सकती है? सिर्फ गुड्स में. वो सिचुएशन कब हो सकती है? सिर्फ गुड्स में, नॉट इन सर्विस. नॉट इन सर्विस. We have talked about कि in this case no interest will be there. एक कैटेगरीज ऑफ रिफंड पढ़ा था हमने, वहां पर मुझे इंटरेस्ट नहीं पे करना पड़ता. कैन यू प्लीज टेल मी दैट कैटेगरी? In one category we have discussed that you are not required to pay the interest at least. Absolutely correct. When you have paid the wrong taxes, then pay the correct taxes and take the refund of wrong taxes. Because you are paying the correct taxes after due date, therefore ideally the interest should be leviable, but section 77 and 19 says no interest. No problem. Correct. Then the 2-year time limit would be counted from which date? We are taking the refund of wrong taxes. we are taking the refund of wrong taxes. So the 2 year would be counted the date when I paid the correct tax or date when I paid the wrong tax. कहां से काउंट होगा रॉन्ग ये 2 year का टाइम लिमिट? From the date when I paid the correct tax. From the date when I paid the correct tax, not the wrong tax. There was one more problem in this case. There was one more problem in this case. What was that problem which has been clarified by circular? What was the problem? There was one more problem in this case. What was the problem? And which has been clarified by the circular. Subsequently held. Now the circular has clarified that if the subsequently held by whom, then you are entitled to take the refund. Subsequently held by whom, then taxpayer can take the refund, otherwise not. Which subsequently held, absolutely correct. The subsequently held that you have paid the wrong taxes, so pay the correct and take the refund. So subsequently held by which party, officer or taxpayer, or both? The answer is either it will be identified by the taxpayer himself or it will be identified by the officer. In both the cases, you are entitled to take the refund of wrong tax. You are entitled to take the wrong tax. In case of the deemed exports, the 2 year is also counted from the returns. Returns furnished by the supplier or by the recipient or by anyone. The answer is by supplier only. Tell me, can unregistered person take the refund? In any situation that we will talk about, but क्या वो refund ले सकता है? Unregistered person. Can unregistered person is eligible to take the refund? Answer is yes. But will he get the problem in applying the refund on portal? Yeah, facility is there. Whether GST network providing the facility or he will not be able to file online. Will he be able to file online or not? Yes, sir. Facility is there. They made the separate and registered person can also file the refund. Unregistered person can also file the refund. Okay. So by this we have done with the today class, and we will next class is on Sunday, and we will discuss the balance part and complete the refund chapter. Thank you so much. Goodbye to all of you. Over. ये आप ही हैं क्या बॉस? ठीक है सर.